Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video where here we will be talking about 4 different types of analytics. Now these 4 different types of analytics underpins a lot of what people would do when it comes to analyzing data. When you want to find out answers to certain types of questions, when you want to work out what to do moving forwards as a business, when you need to make important business decisions, you're probably going to perform some combination of these 4 different types of analytics. You're going to see it whether you're a data analyst, whether you're a data engineer, whether you are a software engineer, whether you are a scrum master, some kind of analytics that falls into one of these 4 kinds will be used. Let's start with the first one. Number 1. We have descriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics helps us answer the question of what is going on or what has happened with our data. I'm going to use the context of properties and property companies to give us a bit more flavor for these types of analytics. So with descriptive analytics, what happens is you have maybe a property company that will look at what kind of house prices we have in a region. So let's say you are in the UK, you might compare, say, the house prices in London versus the house prices in somewhere like Newcastle. If you're somewhere like in America, you might compare house prices in Los Angeles versus the house prices in some city in Alabama, for example. Okay? So it's all about finding out historical data and current data as well. Now we have number 2. Number 2 is looking at diagnostic analytics, and it's answering the question why. It's diagnosing why do we have this kind of data. So we might ask ourselves, why is it that properties in London are more expensive than in Newcastle? In America, we might ask the question, why is it that properties in Los Angeles is more expensive than that rogue city in Alabama? So when you have the answers to these questions, you can then start to think about what kinds of business decisions you could make. Number 3, we have predictive analytics, and that is where you are using data, you're using past information to start making predictions about what is likely to or what might happen in the future. So for example, we might be looking at how house prices have been rising over the past, let's say, 100 years to help us inform what might happen to house prices in the next 10 years. And this can be useful because if we can make predictions for what will happen, we can then start to think about strategies for managing the demand for property, and we can even start to think about strategies for what kinds of things, what kinds of activities can happen in those areas where the properties might be those prices. Okay, and number 4, we have what we call prescriptive analytics. Prescriptive analytics takes the information that we've analyzed in terms of what's happened. So we take our descriptive analytics, describing what's happened in the past, what's happening currently. We can maybe take our information on the diagnostic analysis, why things have happened. And we can also take information on the predictive analytics, what is likely to happen in the future. And we can use that to come up with recommendations. So again, in the scheme of a property company, the question might be, okay, what is the reason that house prices are much higher in London versus in Newcastle? What types of people are living in London versus what types of people are living in Newcastle? What types of people visit Newcastle versus what types of people visit London? Having answers to these types of questions can then help us inform what prices we should be thinking of renting houses at within London, within Newcastle. It can also help us think about the kinds of property services that are provided within the areas. For example, are we going to be providing a lot of long-term living, let's say where people can rent for long-term, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, something along those lines? Or is it going to be something that is more suitable for the short stay, let's like hotels, Airbnbs, and that kind of thing? With diagnostic analysis as well, you can start to think about what other types of things you might want to do within the area. So for example, if you know that within London things are a lot more expensive and you've got certain types of people who are coming to London, you might then be able to organize events. If you're another company, let's say, that's been looking into property data, you might organize events that might cater to that kind of demographic. Whereas in Newcastle, it might look a little bit different. So hopefully these 4 types of analytics have given you some insight as to, first of all, why it's useful and how it relates in the scheme of property. And because so many people have asked, I will do this series on these 4 different types of analytics, but in a completely different sector to property. If you want to know more about that, do stay tuned and you will find it on my channel. Please like and subscribe, and you will see you in the next video. Please like and subscribe and comment as well. Comment the type of industry that you would like to see this analytics applied to. I will see you in the next video. Take care.